I got a guy booked today I want to talk to. His name is Jose Antonio Vargas. He comes to us from Berkeley, California. He's got a book out in paperback. Originally, he wrote this book in September 18, but he's upgraded it. In the introduction of the book, he cites me, quote, since publicly declaring my undocumented status in 2011, greeted by the likes of Bill O'Reilly as the most famous illegal in America, I visited cities and towns in 49 states, engaging all kinds of people. Most Americans I discovered have no idea how the immigration system works, what the immigration citizenship process requires, how difficult, if not downright impossible, it is for undocumented people to get legal. All the while, undocumented workers like me pay billions of taxes to a government that detains and deports us. That sounds pretty dastardly to me. And as I said, Mr. Vargas joins us from Berkeley, California. So you and I don't see this eye to eye, Mr. Vargas, but we do have some common ground. I believe that Congress should make it easier for foreign nationals to work in this country. They have to have a clean sheet. They have to have no crime. They have to be responsible people. They probably have to put up some kind of collateral to get in here. But all that can be done. But I do not agree with you that the immigration process is that difficult. And I'll cite the stats. Okay, so there are 4 million legal Filipino immigrants in this country right now, at least. That stat is 3 years old, so you got probably about 5 or 6 million. Population of Philippines, 117 million, so we've been pretty generous to the islands, all right? In the last 5 years, there have been about 1 million new green cards. I think that should be tripled to 3 million, okay? And there are 4 million new U.S. citizens in 5 years. So you say that they don't understand. Well, 4 million do. Any reply to those stats?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Second of all, I do think we have more in common than you think. And I think a lot of it has to do with what shared facts we have. Thank you for citing all those statistics. Actually, let me give you a little bit more statistics. So estimated 5 million Filipinos, about 1.4 million of that in California, where I grew up since 1993. There are actually more Filipinos in California than there are people in New Hampshire, Delaware, and Rhode Island. Right? Like that's how big the Filipino population in this country has gotten. And to your point, I'm grateful that the United States has been generous to the Philippines. And I think a lot of that also has to do with, the Philippines was a property of the United States. We were actually the first country that became a part of the American Empire in 1898 after the Spanish-American War. So we have a long history together, right? So the Philippines was a colony of Spain for 350 years, and then the Americans came for almost 50 years. That's why apparently when you go to the Philippines, where I haven't been since I was 12, the Philippines is the most Americanized of all the Asian countries. So I just wanted to point that out. Now, to address your question, I've been thinking a lot about this since we just celebrated July 4th weekend. Apparently, during the founding fathers era, when the 13 colonies declared independence from the British Empire, there were 2.5 million people in the colonies. Right now in this country, and I don't know if I believe these estimates. I don't know, Bill, if you do. Estimates say that we have 12 million undocumented people in this country. I think there's more than 12 million. I don't believe that number.
I want to advance your belief system. Now, you're an accomplished man, okay? You won a Pulitzer Prize working for the Washington Post. You've contributed to this country. The name of your book is Dear America, Notes of an Undocumented Citizen, but you have a visa. You're here. Nobody's going to kick your door in and grab you at this point. But it's been a struggle, and it's been a struggle that's unfair to you because you were a people smuggler, brought you here when you were 12. Your family wanted that 12. To happen. Yeah, that's not your fault. You had no.
But Bill, to your point, it took me 31 years. I have what's called an O visa, right? So I had to leave this country, since
to get the visa. But I want to go all the way through that. What I'm trying to say to you and to the audience is there are ways to do it. Not easy, but nothing worthwhile is easy. You did it. Millions of other foreign nationals have come here legally. The people who come here illegally, okay, they have no right to feel entitled to be here. Now, I'm not saying they should all be mass deported. I'm not. But I want to get your take on a few things. Joe Biden opened the border, okay? Did you support that?
When you say open the border, meaning what? You mean when?
Come
when
on,
all
you know
those
what I mean,
refugees were
Jose.
coming-
Don't give me any of
What?
this. You know exactly what I mean. He opened the border. At least 12 million people poured across it, many of whom asked for asylum, not in the legal way, in the ports of entry. Wait, did you support the Biden program or not? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
What was your objection?
A couple of objections. The 12 million people did not come through during Biden's era. They've been coming for decades.
But at
You
least
and I
12
both
million
know-
did. At least 12.
No.
Every estimate, it's 12 to 15 under Biden poured in here, most of whom asked for asylum, violating American law because they didn't go to the port of entry. That's the stat from the federal government. You want to quibble? It gets us nowhere.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it gets us
well,
nowhere.
what
So
objection did you have to the Biden thing? What was your objection to that Biden?
My objection is I think the fact that we don't have an orderly system, like what you just said a few minutes ago, there should be a process that people ought to follow to come to this country.
Okay.
In the
and
same
I
way
agree,
that
we're on common ground.
Yes.
But what if they don't follow it? Come on. What if they don't?
Problem. Well, Bill.
Well, it's a problem. We have the right to kick them out.
Well, wait a second. Yes, we do. And however, that's why we have 12 million people in this country illegally, because there's no process for people to follow.
But there is a process.
For people, well,
there is.
Okay. As somebody, Bill, who lived through this, I had to wait 31 years for this window of an opportunity to follow.
Okay, Jose, I know that. But do you know how many immigration attorneys there are in California?
Oh,
thousands,
yes.
And they're getting people to stay here by using our system of due process. So don't tell me there's no way that you can become a legalized citizen, because there is.
So Bill, why are there 12 million undocumented people in the country then if there's a process for them to follow to legalize?
Because they don't want to follow it, or they don't have the money to follow it. One of the two.
That, by the way, is, I think, the biggest myth in journalism that we have to break. That people are too lazy to follow a process. Look at the dreamers. The dreamers in this country had to pay $500, about 800,000 of them or so, had to pay $500 so that this government doesn't deport them, so that they can work legally.
Okay, look, there's always going to be that kind of a thing. Trump is he's actually sympathetic to the dreamers. But Jose, for you to come on here and say there's no process for foreign nationals to come here legally is simply not true. They advertise on television. The immigration attorneys are out there. Come to me. I'll get you here. I'll get you there. It's a booming industry.
Bill, how many immigrants are there in the country today? Do you know how many?
Illegal immigrants or
immigrants in general, overall? How many? How many million?
It's 50 million, something like that.
About 49 million. Of that 49 million, this is according to the Pew Research Center, which is a nonpartisan organization.
Right.
Within that 49 million, 12 million are undocumented, right? Those 12, again, and you and I both know
that just destroys your argument. Because you're saying there's no pathway, and most of the people are here legally.
No. But wait, please hear me out here. The 12 million people live within 49 million people, right? There are people in that family, like in my own family, that could call lawyers and naturalize themselves and actually adjust and change their status. I was one of those 12 million people that couldn't just do that. I had to wait 31 years for this very specific thing so that I could legalize myself.
Okay, Jose, I understand that, and I'm sympathetic to it. And Congress should. It's Congress's fault. They could make new laws that impose order. But for the left to scream that we have a Gestapo, that we're throwing people out and this and we're
Well,
cruel. And that's just hype.
so
Last word.
one
Go
thing,
ahead.
one thing that we must agree on, this may be an opportunity. If there was ever an opportunity, now, look, we've been talking about illegal immigration since I moved to this country in 1993, right? If there was ever an opportunity to actually fix this problem and come up with a solution, this would be it.
All right, and I
you just
agree.
said it.
You and I could probably come up with this, figure this out in 2 weeks, okay?
Yes.
But these pinheads in D.C. all have agendas, one side or the other.
Yeah.
But I agree 100%. The book is Dear America, Notes of an Undocumented Citizen, Jose Antonio Vargas. Jose, thanks for taking the fire. We appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
It wasn't supposed to get this bad. You were on top of your bills, then inflation hit. Prices up 26% from just a few years ago. It's not your fault. You've fallen into debt. But there's a smarter and easier way out. It's called Done with Debt. They don't push loans or bankruptcy on you. Done with Debt are negotiators who go head to head with your credit card and loan companies. They have one goal: to reduce or eliminate your debt altogether. Done with Debt moves very fast. Most clients see more money in their pocket by month 1. But hurry, because some of their debt erasing strategies are time sensitive. Don't make another bill payment until you talk to a Done with Debt strategist. It's free. So please visit donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. Joining us from LA, my pal Stephen A. Smith, sitting right in front of a house he just bought. I'm giving you some jazz. Okay, look, I'm a simple man, as you know. And I believe that this hip hop stuff, it teaches disrespect and encourages it. Bad language, don't even wear no condoms, all of that stuff. And kids as young as what, 10, 11, 12, listen to this. Instead of me listening to Four Tops and the Temptations and Smokey Robinson and all these people, they're listening to this. And I think that the level of disrespect among younger people has risen because of this kind of stuff. Am I wrong?
I'm in no position to say definitively, Bill, that you're wrong. Where I was pushing back on you is when you talked about hip hop as if hip hop are the originators of all of this. When we talk about disrespect, when we talk about some of the lyrics that are spewed, and I'm like, have you listened to rock music? Have you listened to heavy metal music? Have you listened to some of the stuff spanning decades? Have you seen people worshiping the devil, engaging in Satanism, preaching about violence and whatever? I mean, we've seen all of this in the past, and that had nothing to do with hip hop. So when you came out on Cuomo's show and you talked about hip hop, it's one thing to say that you don't like it, but it was almost as if you isolated your opinion to that, as opposed to really embracing what really has been happening with the music industry, with Hollywood, and some of the things that they've been perpetuating and disseminating for decades, long even before hip hop came along. That was my issue with
but
it.
I don't
That
do
was
the
my biggest issue.
I don't do the justify bad behavior by pointing to other bad behavior. And you're absolutely right. I mean, a lot of this rock stuff is garbage. But this hip hop industry is directed at not just African American children, but children, many of whom are marginalized. They don't have people in the house, father in the house. Look, I wouldn't let my kids listen to Megan Thee Stallion and Florilla or whatever his name is. That could not come into my house. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're wrong if you're saying them. I would say to you, there's certain songs I'm not going to allow you to listen to. Like, for example, the artists that I grew up listening to, whether it was Run DMC, it was KRS-One, it was Eric B. and Rakim, Public Enemy, et cetera, et cetera. It's in this day and age, whether it's Eminem, it's Jay-Z, it's Nas, who's been around forever, along with a plethora of others. There's some songs I wouldn't allow my kids to listen to. There are other songs I don't mind. It all depends on a particular song and the particular lyrics that are being spewed, as opposed to me denigrating an artist because of a particular song. That's what I'm saying to you.
Okay, but remember,
Okay.
the unbelievable amount of African American children who are living without a father. It is a problem that this country has never seen at this level. You give those kids role models who are using the F word every 2 seconds, who've got tattoos all over them, who can't speak proper English, and you're saying that this is what is going to be imitated. Look, Willie Mays was my idol growing up, all right? There couldn't have been a better idol for me than Willie Mays. Just couldn't have been, all right? And he drove me to play baseball for 15 consecutive years. And then I went over to the turn on WABC AM radio to listen to all of these black artists whose music was uplifting. That helped me. It didn't hurt me. Now, the role models, many of them, are hurting these kids. You got to admit that.
I'm not denying. I have no problem admitting that. I have no problem acknowledging that parents, and it extends beyond the black community, white, Hispanic.
Oh yeah,
Asian,
absolutely.
It doesn't matter. I mean, everybody's complaining about it. You're absolutely right. I'm not here to say that you're wrong. I just want you to contextualize things properly. So we're talking about this subject right now, Bill, and you can look at it that way, and you have every right to. I'm not going to knock you for that. But allow me to retort. Let's go into your wheelhouse for a second. Right now, we're looking at an unemployment rate in the United States of America that's hovering around 4 to 4.1%. In the black community, it's at 16%. Amongst young black males, particularly between the ages of 16 and 19, for example, I think I read the number at being at about 19.8%. I've often been on the air saying this: when white folks catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia. It's always worse for us. There's always an uphill battle to climb. So to get to your point, it makes it even harder when other obstacles get in the way that we know would potentially derail, particularly somebody from an African American community on the come up looking for opportunities. But what happens? The music industry comes along and they're talking to you about making money. And here's how we want you to make the money. And so you have young minds that are being influenced, but most importantly, are trying to get a leg up or trying to earn their stripes or trying to find a way to pay their bills and to take care of themselves and their family, et cetera, that are presented with these opportunities. So when you talk about a hip hop industry, you might talk about the artist, and I might say somebody like Bill O'Reilly is informed enough to know it extends far beyond that particular artist, because those artists answer to somebody. Somebody makes those albums, they promote those albums, they market those albums, they disseminate.
Yeah, but the artist is creating the scenario that if you are a certain person, you can use that language. The reason that the minority unemployment is higher is because of the presentation. If you're an African American in this country and you present yourself in a way the employer believes that is going to help the business, you'll get the job.
Not always.
No system is perfect.
Yeah,
but believe me, you have a just as good a chance to get that job, and you don't want to work for a racist anyway. Okay,
right.
So, but if you go in and you can't speak English, and you're going the F word every 2 minutes, and you got a tattoo of a panther on your neck, there's a good chance you're not gonna get the job.
That is totally true, but that is not a vast majority of African Americans out in this world. And you have to take that into consideration as well. Now, you might look at some members of the hip hop community and you might see them acting a certain way, which is unfortunate. And we don't hesitate to call them out for that. But we also see a lot of these hip hop artists doing fantastic things within the community, within the world.
Okay, but that doesn't justify. Look, Jay-Z sold crack. All right, killed people. All right, I have no respect for him. None. Zero.
Well, he's a friend of mine.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm a truthful man. He sold crack.
So am I. So am I.
So if he would come out and he would say, I was absolutely wrong, don't use crack, all right? That was horrible.
And I'm saying to you is you can do two things at once. You can admit exactly what Bill O'Reilly said and then turn around and say, excuse me, this is what I had to do to survive because the opportunity.
I don't believe that for a second.
Well, tell me. You don't believe that?
No, because there are most African Americans don't sell crack.
I understand that, but you're using a specific incident. I'm going to a macro perspective. There are an abundance of situations involving males in the African American community where trying times present themselves and challenges present themselves. I was fortunate and blessed enough to have a mother and a father in the home, Bill,
Yeah,
even
me
though
too.
my father wasn't doing
And that's why
even though
I
hold on,
feel
hold on.
terrible about the unsupervised children, not just African Americans, but all of them, who get
All of
involved with this hip hop, which is going to hurt them. Last question. Wouldn't it be
not
better?
as simple as that, but okay. But go ahead.
Wouldn't it be better for the world if Motown came back and all of the good songs that we still listen to 50, 60 years later, okay, dominated the music industry and not this other garbage? Wouldn't that be better?
I think a lot of it exists now. You've got a lot of beautiful artists out here. Have you ever listened to Joe? Have you ever listened to Akon? Have you ever listened to an abundance of other guys out there with some great music, some great albums out there, and whatever? Everybody can't be Prince, Michael Jackson, the Temptations, the Four Tops. You forgot to mention the Osley Brothers. Let's not forget about them. Teddy Pendergrass, Luther Vandross. You had a whole bunch of artists that were absolutely fabulous.
I gotta stop you there. On Cuomo tonight, if we have time, you asked me about going to the Isley Brothers concert. Okay? I was the only white guy in there. The only white guy.
I remember you told me.
Okay?
I remember you told me that.
And
I remember.
And the crowd.
But see, here's your problem. Here's your problem. You think you're loved because you know, Bill O'Reilly is right and he tells the truth. That's not why you're respected and why you can walk anywhere, even when people disagree with you. Do you know what the real reason is, Bill? Even if we think you're wrong, we know you mean what you say. You believe it. You feel it. We could go on and on about this particular conversation. I could have corrected you on a few things, but I know that your foundation, the foundation of your belief, has some merit, and you're bold enough and brave enough to say it. And to say
I appreciate the compliment.
rather than hiding behind some curtain. So that's where it comes from. But it ain't because we think you're right all the time. Because I don't
want you to think I'm right. I just try to make an overwhelming case, and that's what the Three Americans is all about. That's why it's sweeping the country. You got three separate guys who all have belief systems who throw it on out there, and then people can say, "All right, that's it." Hey, Stephen, we'll see you. I think it's
you could be nicer. You could be nicer to Chris Cuomo. That's the only thing we missed. You could be nicer to Chris Cuomo.
You know,
you could be nice.
He doesn't deserve it. Okay, I mean, I'll tell you. He just doesn't deserve it. All right, I'll see you soon. Thanks for helping us out. We appreciate it.
Take care, man.
Homeowners, when is the last time you checked on your home title? If your answer is never, then this is for you. Scammers are stealing titles, and your equity is a target. Criminals forge your signature. Just like that, your home title can be transferred out of your name. That's why I partnered up with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Please use my promo code BILL at HometitleLock.com, and you'll get a free title history report. Plus, you will get a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts of any changes, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code BILL. We don't talk enough about those truly making a positive impact. So let's take a moment to discuss Delta Rescue, the world's largest no-kill care for life animal sanctuary. Home to more than 1,500 rescued animals. It is staffed by trained specialists who provide lifelong care, love, and safety. They do incredible work. But look, it's important to remember that Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions from us. I have donated, and so should you. Their founder, Leo Grillo, built a legacy of dedication and everlasting love for animals. So consider making it a part of your legacy too. Talk with an estate planner. Check out the estate planning tab at deltarescue.org. You can make a difference, even get potential tax benefits. So please visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. deltarescue.org. Okay, some relief at the airports for you. You don't have to take your shoes off anymore. TSA put out a memo. They're going to roll it out. You don't have to take your shoes off when you go through the security line. That'll save some time. It was always annoying. A little interesting timeline. The shoe thing started December 2001, right, 3 months after 9/11. And it was because Richard Reed, a British terrorist, tried to blow up a plane with explosives hidden in his shoe. So that's where it started. In 2006 in America, the TSA said everybody takes their shoes off. Then you could get some elevated security status where you didn't have to take it off. Now, what you need is a real ID document, passport or a license. I have a driver's license, a real ID, to show and get in a line where you don't have to take your shoes off. But that's an improvement because this TSA intrusion, I'm sure you've been on the lines as I have, it really can get people into trouble on connecting flights. Here's a follow-up on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He was the guy in Maryland who was deported to El Salvador. Supreme Court ruled it said bring him back. He is back, 29 years old, from Maryland. Now he's charged with human trafficking, and he's allegedly did that in Tennessee. Okay, so the case is in Tennessee, but it's being overseen by a federal judge, Paula Zixis, Zinis, in Maryland. Now, she may grant bail to Garcia. He's still being held. If that happens, ICE says immediately he's going to be picked up and deported. That would not be good. I want the guy charged and tried for human trafficking because he was used by the progressive left to try to undermine Homeland Security. That's a big story. Now, if this guy turns out to be a human trafficker, that destroys, it's what I said at the beginning of the program, this entire progressive thing. It's another brick in the wall. Okay? So that is in motion. Smart life. So price of food is absolutely insane. And I did a commentary for our flagship WABC radio today. I'm on there with Common Sense at 9 p.m. Every night on WABC. And I said, look, one of the reasons this guy Mandani is even competitive in the New York City mayoral race is because of the price of food. There is a restaurant on Eastern Long Island named Rosie's in Amagansett. It's charging $34 for a cheeseburger. Now, you got to be a complete moron to buy that. Okay. However, there are rich people who don't care about $34. I want the burger, and they'll buy it. And that's why it's on the menu, and the restaurant's selling them. Poorer people, less affluent people who have to care about money, that makes them angry. Now, Smart Life. A couple of apps could save you some pretty significant money on food. Pen, paper. Remember I say every day? If you go to lifehacker.com, they have a big food waste thing there. And you can get food at a very, very low price. The main one that we found was Too Good To Go. This is found in Copenhagen, Denmark, in 2016. It's got 100 million registered users. What this is restaurants go to this Too Good To Go in areas all over the world and say, look, we'll bundle food for this price, usually very low, but you don't know what's in there. You don't know what the restaurants are giving you. It's not like you order. But you get a bundle of food for a very low price delivered to you. And in USA, it's New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Washington, on and on and on and on. So you can get it. Too Good To Go. They call them surprise bags. Now, if you are just getting by and food prices are hammering you, you might want to check out lifehacker.com and Too Good To Go. First two is TOO. Good, TOO. G-O. Smart Life. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.